It's Reality Check with Craig Price.
I'm an idiot.
4 minutes in and I'm already wrong.
I'm like a monkey. Hello, look at me.
You're like a beautiful mind. I'm more like Forrest Gump. So
This isn't Self-Esteem Weekly. This is a reality check.
Craig, shut up. It's Reality Check with Craig Price. This week, our pal Chip Lutz is here to discuss his new leadership book, Get Past the Crap. Welcome to the podcast. This week we spotlight something I myself have trouble with, getting past the crap. I get hung up on a lot of things. I just moved halfway across the country. I'm in a job hunt. I'm a new landlord since we didn't sell our home in Houston, and I got to worry about those things. But we're also new tenants in California, something I haven't had to deal with in about 15 years. So I'm a landlord and a tenant. And all this stuff can get to me and often stall any bit of progress I do. You start thinking about it, you start dwelling on it, you feel sometimes just trapped. We all have moments in life where life gets in the way. Life got in the way for Chip, and from that he got a book. It's called Get Past the Crap, Lead Yourself First, Bounce Back, and Get Shit Done. So thanks, Chip, for making me put the explicit tag on today's podcast. And you can learn more about Chip if you go all the way back to episode 28 where we talked about service. But his new book is out today. It's online, and I encourage you to listen and then go get the book. He's a fun and funny guy, but he knows his stuff. So grab a plunger, get out that drain snake, call a plumber if you have to, but let's get past the crap with Chip Lutz. Leadership books, they're everywhere. Why this one? That's my Larry King impression.
Oh. Why this one?
Yeah, why did you sit down and write this one? Because I mean, there's so many other leadership books out there. What made you decide I have to talk to people and I have to say this?
Well, as a leader, I mean, there are a lot of leadership books out there, and nothing's really changed in the world of leadership since the dawn of time. I mean, the only secret to leading people, it's all about it's all about people. But for this book, it was more about leading yourself. Like for us as leaders, not only are we responsible for everybody's crap underneath us, but we come to work with crap every day. I mean, we got, things happen at home with kids, your spouse, whatever. And, I'm a crap survivor. In the course of my life, I've dealt with a lot of different things, and I still had to show up present every day in order to, lead my team. And so for me, it was just one of those things where I wanted to share some strategies with people on how to get past their own crap so they could be there for their team. Some things that I actually used.
Well, the book is called Get Past the Crap, Lead Yourself First, Bounce Back, Get Shit Done, which I appreciate. You got the whole thing right on the thing. You're not afraid to use profanity on the cover. And, of course, that's written by our good friend Chip Lutz. So, Chip, I'm looking through it. When you think about crap, what's the most common crap? Like, personally, I just moved to California. We're renting a house, and I actually had to literally deal with crap because the sewer main was clogged with whatever awful humans lived here before us. They literally clogged up. It was like 2 feet of pipes solidly clogged up of crap that I had to deal with a plumber. But that can affect how I go to work when I talk to people because I've got other things I'm thinking about. How can we get past the crap? And what kind of crap are we really talking about?
Well, I mean, crap comes in all sorts of, all venues, and most people, or I should say, people have different levels of resiliency. A lot of times we get served that big, what I call the big crap sandwich. I mean, we have like 3 options. We can, sit around and, ignore it, but I've never known ignoring something where it got better. We can nibble and complain a little bit about it. And we nibble and complain, we make ourselves more miserable, or, and the people around us as well, because they're just tired of hearing us whine. They'll commiserate with us, but secretly they're wishing that you would just shut the hell up and actually do something. In which, I always will tell people, take option 3, actually do something, take a big bite of it. Like you with your sewer main. I mean, you didn't sit around and just whine about it. You got out there. I saw the pictures on Facebook. You were out there, you were doing something about it. That's the case with most of the crap in our lives. A lot of times we tend to ignore it, or we'll nibble a little bit, around it, complain about it. But the only thing that really happens, only option that's really good is taking option 3 and actually doing something with it.
I also have a concept around the crap sandwich. It's often around delivering criticism. Mm-hmm. And So you have the crap is the problem. And some people, like you said, have a different tolerance of crap. So sometimes you have to give them more bread. You have to, some people want a huge, big loaf of bread and a tiny tablespoon of crap because that's the only way you're going to be able to deliver that crap. Other people like me, I don't need bread. It's going to taste like crap anyways. Just give me the crap. I'll hold my nose. We'll get it done.
Right. And that's taking option 3. And if you think about all the crap you've been served in your life, we sit back and we look at it. When we're going through it, it's not one of those things that we really like, but certainly afterwards we say, you know what, I learned something in the process of doing that. Ignoring it, I'm not learning something. Nibbling about it and complaining, I'm not learning anything about it. But when I actually take some kind of positive action about that crap, in the process, I'm going to learn something. I'm going to learn either something I don't want to do again, or I've learned a new skill. I mean, in the process of doing something with that, whether it's a big crusty loaf or you're just taking it spoonful by spoonful, you're going to come out a little bit better person on the other end. Like with your sewer pipe, did you learn something in the process?
Yeah, I learned that whoever lived here before us were heathen, disgusting people, and and I found out that my landlords are cheap. They forget. See, the problem is I'm also a landlord. Now, since I moved, we didn't sell our home in Houston. We're renting our home out, and I'm kind of doing the same thing. I'm a tenant now. I haven't been a renter in 15 years, but I am now. They forget that I'm also a homeowner, and I'm also a landlord, and so I know what's supposed to get done. And they were like, well, we don't want to have to spend this much money or this much money. And I'm like, look, if you don't fix this now, you're going to have to pay 3 times as much in the long run. And to which they go, oh, yeah, that makes sense. So, yeah, I learned quite a few things that if I'm going to get stuff done around here in California, I'm going to have to really be on it. Now, I'm looking through your table of contents, and I see a phonetic alliteration kind of. So you have chapter 2 is pass the crap with purpose. Then chapter 3 is pass the crap by being a positive thinker. Then pass the crap by paying attention, being pliable, getting past the crap with practice, with play. So it looks like you have poop and pee all covered in these things. You've definitely taken a toilet approach, which was what your last book was, wasn't it?
Well, my 2 books ago, I had Chipper the Skipper's Lavatory Leader, Leadership Ideas, Guaranteed to Get You Moving. Yes.
So let's talk down the list. Getting past the crap with purpose.
In the chapter, I talk about, my first couple years in the Navy, I was purposeless. And any wave of crap that would come my way would, bash me against this wall, bench that against this wall, until I had somebody that helped, reveal my purpose of, some kind of goal that I needed to go towards. And then we have a goal. We know where we're going. It makes it really easy to get, to answer some of the crappy questions, because a lot of times people will come up to us with this and that and the other thing. But if we're really clearly defined on where we're going, all we need to ask ourselves is like, is this support where I'm going to go? If the answer is yes, I'm going to do it. If the answer is no, I'm not going to do it. The man that helped me in that, his name was Denny. He was my first real supervisor. I had other supervisors before him, but he was my best supervisor. And he set me on a path for success, within the Navy. And that when, like any job, you have this thing happen, that happened, you work with a crappy coworker, you have a crappy boss. All I had to do was sit back and think of, the path that I was on, that Denny set me on, and then, that purpose of, where I was going. And it helped me get through, that bad boss, that crappy coworker. I didn't want to say shit too much, but
it's in the title of your book. You can say shit.
All right, beautiful. Well, I didn't want to make your podcast rated R, but just having a purpose helps us, answer some questions for ourselves and not get pulled into other people's crap, as well as stay focused on where we're going.
So how can you find purpose when even in the Navy, the purpose is really not defined by you? You are a cog in a large machine. You have a purpose as in you're serving the country and you're doing something to protect your fellow citizens, but on a day-to-day, the purpose is whatever your supervisor, whatever orders you get. How do you maintain purpose when someone else is dictating?
Well, in some respects, I could see where you might see that, but I was looking at more of a a personal purpose. That I had things that bosses that were crappy and coworkers that were crappy, but I always knew what my personal purpose was, what my personal goal was, and where I was going. And one was where I was going on the advancement scale of things that I needed to do in order to advance, but also my own personal purpose on making a difference for the people that were around me. That I could be that buffer for them, so they didn't have to deal with as much crap as that I was dealing with.
So regardless of what position you're in, you try to find out what the purpose is for you in that position.
Right.
So then we get on to being pliable, which in this day and age, if you make any slight decisions, if you're in a gray area, people think you're waffling. People don't trust you. It's a crazy idea, and I don't like it. But you should be able to change your mind, especially with more information. How can you be pliable without seeming like you're wishy-washy or waffling?
That's a good question. I was looking at more of like, we as human beings, we're really creatures of habit. We're creatures of status quo, and we can get kind of rigid in how we do things, period. For me, I'm just as type A as everybody else. I like to have my schedule set out for the week. I like to know how things are going to go. And it used to be where if, something came up in the midst of my week that I didn't have planned, it would mess me up a little bit. And so for me, in being pliable, I had to kind of calibrate myself in my mind of being able to shift when I need to shift. I understand what you're saying as far as not waffling. As a general leadership rule, I think that when you firmly communicate with your people as far as like what's going on, they understand that, sometimes there's going to be a little bit of ebb and flow in wherever we're going as a team. That, mistakes are going to be made. When the mistakes are made, then, we regroup and figure out where the learning was in the mistake. And we just, shift rudder a little bit so we can get where we need to go. Personal pliability is, for me anyhow, has always been a little more difficult. That, like I said, I like things the way I like them. And so I like to mix things up a little bit in order to to calibrate my brain.
Also gives you a better perspective on what other people might bring to you. If you're always thinking about the way you think of things, it's going to be hard to adjust to other people.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's what I love, actually. Like my wife is my complete opposite. Where I am very structured. I like things. She is a free spirit, and she constantly pushes me out of my comfort zone to help me experience new things, see things a new way. And I think everybody needs somebody in their life like that to help them be a little more pliable.
Then you have get past the crap with play. That can seem like, especially when things are going poorly, or you got your crap going on, and almost always crap is never good. You've got your personal crap going on. You've got crap at work going on. Those aren't, it's not birthday cakes. You're not worried about happiness. It's when you're talking about crap, you're talking about negative things happening. How can we incorporate play when all this crap is happening around us? It's hard to have fun when you're neck deep in turd.
I don't know. I guess in the environments that I've always tried to create within the teams that I've led is that when we made a mistake, then, for me, I was always the first person to be able to laugh about it, and especially laughing at myself. Leaders that can laugh at themselves and laugh at their own mistakes, in essence, give permission to their people to do the same. They help create this atmosphere of risk without fear of reprise, that if you as a leader are strong enough and bold enough to, be able to laugh at your own mistakes, then your people aren't going to be, so afraid to step outside their comfort zone and and try something new. I mean, we live in an age where those who can't innovate are going to die on the vine. I mean, those that, play to me is a huge part of employee engagement as well. That, people that are enjoying what they do and who they're around are going to be a little more productive than those that, are working in the mill for the draconian boss. So to you look at your overall question is that, I think it's the leader's responsibility to, have that attitude of, play in a workplace. It's not that, bad things don't happen, but if they do happen, what can you do with it after that? And personally, when you're going through the crap, for me, I mean, in essence of play, having a sense of humor, it's saved my life more than one occasion. You know that as an entrepreneur, there are ebbs and flows in our businesses. And, I've had like huge dry spells within my business where, it'd be easy to focus in on, how much, how much I'm not making or how much this is not happening. And when that would happen, it's like, what can I do to, play with that? What can I do to, add a little humor to my life so it's going to raise my spirit a little bit so I can, make that rapid mental adjustment I need to make so I can get over the hump and get back down to business. So I can, take option 3. I can face whatever it is head on. I know, because you're used to be a comedian and you're still really funny, that, humor is really subjective. So everything that's funny to me is not funny to other people. However,
if it's not funny to other people, is it really funny? If everybody else is not laughing, how funny was it really?
Well, it depends on where you live. Like if
if you live in the boardroom, you're okay.
No. What I'm saying is that as far as like within your head, like for me, there are a lot of things that are super super funny that will make me laugh that I can't share with anybody else. So because they're not appropriate in any kind of work environment, because I've got a wicked warped sense of humor, and so those are the things that I will laugh to myself about, and then we'll move on and we'll laugh about something else together.
And just because you're having fun with it doesn't mean you're not taking it seriously.
No. When we think about it, within our society, we have grown up with this thought process that, work is the opposite of play. That, if you're having fun at work, and this is something I dealt with in most of my naval career, is that because I had a sense of humor, because, I would look at the lighter side of things, I had to work harder than some of the other people that were a little more serious, but maybe, not as smart or not as motivated, because I was able to laugh at something, that, just because, hopefully we're shifting out of that a little bit as a society, but that has been the way that we've been, socialized, that, you can't have fun at work. It's like, being at church. Well, you can't laugh because we're praising God here. This is, it's the same way at work. It shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be the opposite. It should be a part of what we do.
Well, then there's chapter 8, which I'm not sure how to take. It's getting past the crap by taking the pledge. This all of a sudden sounds like we've got into a cult.
No, it's a pledge to get out of your own way. That for me, I can be my own worst enemy in getting things done. I can be my own worst enemy in facing some of the crap in my life. I share a story within that about how when I was in command in Wichita, Kansas, and most people don't know the Navy's in Kansas, but we are. But I had to do. I got notified that I had to do a next of kin notification, and I knew it was part of my job because I was the senior naval officer within the state on active duty anyway, and it was part of my job. But it was a part of my job that I hoped would never come, and because me, like a lot of people, I like to be liked. I don't like to give bad news. Sometimes it's a part of our job as leaders, but it's not something I ever really enjoy. And something like this was really, really personal for me, in that, because I was a parent and I had to go give notification to a mother that her son had been killed. And part of the protocol for that is to get a chaplain. So I was able to get a chaplain from McConnell Air Force Base to go with me. And we drove out to the mother's house, and we got there, and thankfully, well, I shouldn't say thankfully, but we pulled up and our car wasn't in the driveway, and this swell of relief came over me. And I was like, oh, thank God. I knew I still had to do it, but in that moment, I didn't have to do it in that moment. So then we went to her work, and her car was, we just missed her. She had just left. So we went back to the house, and her car was in the driveway, and my heart just started racing. And it was like, I knew I had to do it, but I didn't really want to do it. I had white knuckles on the steering wheel. The chaplain and I got out of the car, and we started walking up. And as we were walking up the sidewalk, I just froze. And the chaplain so eloquently was like, look, Lieutenant Lutz, he says, you need to step out of your own way. He says, this isn't about you. This is about what you need to do. You need to be here for this family. You need to, just step out of your own way. And, when I thought about it, when I think about a lot of things in my own life that I don't want to do, I'm my own worst enemy in, getting past my own crap to get it done, whether it's my own self-doubt or, thinking I'm not good enough or I'm not smart enough for something or I don't deserve a certain amount of success, that, I can be that barrier to myself on getting past the, those crappy thoughts or that, those other things. So, taking that pledge is, pledging to step out of your own way, and not create more crap for yourself. And in the end, I made the notification, and the mother and I, we became friends, and I helped her, through the process, which wasn't an easy process, but it was, in the end, like I said, taking option 3, I was better because of it. I was stronger because I was able to be there for somebody that really needed me.
Well, when you write a book, and you've written several before, I've written one, you learn something about yourself, even though you're the expert. So you're putting all your information, all your knowledge into this book. But what did you learn from this the most, putting this book together?
Well, the book actually in itself came about in trying to find some meaning through a medical issue I had last year. Last year on Easter, I ended up with a perforated bowel. I get to the hospital. I'd never experienced pain like that in my life. And I get to the hospital. They put me under after a while, and I woke up 10 hours later with an 8-inch incision in my abdomen and an ostomy bag. And all this, I was 50 years old, and I was like, I'm too young to have this. I mean, I knew older people had an ostomy bag, and for people who don't know what an ostomy is, it's when you have your intestine actually comes out of your abdomen and empties into this bag that's stuck to your stomach. Maybe a little too graphic for some, but anyway.
Yeah, hopefully nobody's eating while they're watching this or listening to this.
But and so, I mean, luckily, there's some people that never can get it reversed. I was lucky enough to be able to get it reversed, 4 months later. And for me, that medical issue and learning something about myself was that, as a leader, that was one crappy thing that I've had to deal with, and literally and figuratively. I've handled more of my own feces than anybody really ever should.
Yeah.
However, when I started thinking about it reflectively, I think about a lot of the different things that I've gone through in my life, and I don't think that they're unique to me. I think that they are common to a lot of people, whether it's, financial issues, health issues, family issues, crappy, working environment issues. And for me, thinking about, that and reflecting on it, this was kind of a journey for me, and thinking about, like, all right, these are the things that, I've been through all this in my life and I'm still standing, and, some people might need that, that strategy that I've used in my life. And so I kind of relearned some of the things that I've used my entire life in the process of writing this.
Well, the book is Get Past the Crap, Lead Yourself First, Bounce Back, Get Shit Done. Chip Lutz, where can people find the book, and where can people find you?
Well, you can find the book at actually getpastthecrap.com. You can go there, buy it. You sign up, and you can get some additional content for free as well. You can find me on my website, unconventionalleader.com.
Well,
that's where I'm at.
Great. Well, I'm glad that things went well for you as far as on the health side. I wish you great luck with the book. Hopefully this will not be crap. This will be part of the happy stuff that you deal with, not the crap. That's the show. Thanks to Chip for coming on, and go get his book. Don't forget to follow the show on Twitter at RealityCheckPod. Sign up for the newsletter at realitycheckpodcast.com. And if you have any questions, comments, or guest suggestions, email Craig at speakercraigprice.com. I'll see you next time. Thanks.